Hey, what's going on, my friend, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about the powerful new moon we have on July 9th, 2021. Number 1, a new beginning and a new phase. I'll give an example from my own personal life, which is a great metaphor for what you might be experiencing in your own way right now, which, by the way, is a very exciting, forward-moving time. So right now, I'm moving to today, actually. This is the last time, unfortunately, for a while. You'll see this beautiful backdrop here in Sedona. My family and I are moving to Austin, Texas today. And as we move to Austin, it's more than a move. It represents a brand new phase for me as a father, as a family man. We're going to be grounding in more so, creating a more balanced, sort of structured life, digging our roots for the sake of the family stability. So I'm going from being like this youthful entrepreneur, building his business, building up his life, going through the dark nights of the soul, to being more of like the calmer, stable, a little bit older, unfortunately, father, husband, supporter, provider, etc. And for a while I found myself clinging to the old, looking at some of the wrinkles forming on my face, clinging on to my youth, just little things, noticing how a lot of the people I used to watch when I was growing up, they're getting older now. Some of them are very old, and it's just like, wow. I went through a whole phase of acceptance of this new phase. But as I've come to terms with it, like a lot of you might be doing right now, coming to terms with the new phase life is asking you to start in your life. There's so much excitement, so much new, such an expansive feeling. It's exciting. It's good to turn the page and enter a new chapter and enter a new phase. But we have to let go of the old. We have to allow ourselves to be in that sort of balance or that unknown, that void. When we can get into the void, that's when the new can start to make itself known. So what new phase are you beginning, my friend? Is there anything in your life that you're currently clinging on to, as I was, futilely, to my youth? If so, now's the time to let that go. And trust that this new phase, it's like one door's closing and another one's opening. And in order to have that gust of fresh, new spring air hit you like a wave and fill your nose with the pretty smells of the roses, and to really step forward onto that new path, we have to allow that previous door to close. Number 2 is going to seem a little bit out there for some of you. A lot of you, not so much. Closer to contact. Contact with extraterrestrials. That's, whether we like it or not, or believe in it or not, that's kind of a big, huge component to this mass awakening planet Earth is now going through. Just as we are awakening from the inside and realizing that we as a soul are much bigger, much more vast, much more connected than we thought. As this starts to be mirrored in our daily lives, as they have been shifting around quite dramatically and quickly, I don't have to tell you that, it's getting to a threshold where humanity is awakening to a point where it will start to be mirrored in the fact that we are a little planet in a vast reality, abundant with many other forms of life. And you might notice in your own life, a lot of you are like the forerunners, the way showers. So a lot of you are coming to grips with this reality sooner than the masses, but it's already coming into the mass consciousness as it is anyway. But you might be going deeper with your connection to, we'll say, the other realms. Maybe for you, it's more of like benevolent spirit guides, and the idea of ETs just doesn't resonate. That's fine. For me, the way it's been playing out is I've been having a lot of dreams with extraterrestrial imagery, vibrations, if you will. That's the best way I could describe it, coming into my dreams. And when this happens, it's like a sign to me that I'm not the only one this is happening to. And I suspect a lot of you are having this in your own way. Maybe you happen to be stumbling on YouTube and finding yourself going down the rabbit hole of different documentaries. Maybe you see a UFO. We see them all the time here in Sedona, actually. Regardless, this is just something I felt called to talk about, even if for some of you it just doesn't resonate. That's fine. Number 3, clarity of purpose. More of an obviousness to the gifts that you already possess within yourself that you came to share with the world. I shall always share this funny sort of, not analogy, it's something I experience a lot as an influencer. A lot of people watch me and who follow me, they're finding their purpose now. They want to find their life purpose. They know they have a life purpose. They don't know what it is. And a lot of them, after talking to them for even a few minutes, for me, it's so obvious exactly what their purpose is. And it's ironic that they don't see it. For example, I have no idea what my life purpose is, Vic, but for some reason, people keep reaching out to me, friends, coworkers, folks online for tarot readings. And I've just always had tarot cards. I did them for myself and it was fine. And as I do these readings, everyone walks away extremely thrilled with what I had to say. And it's just so easy for me. I don't feel like I'm very psychic. Duh! The universe will start to do that. It will start to put people in your life where you will naturally do what's necessary to assist them, help them, heal them, whatever. And as the universe brings these people to you, it will literally pull out of the depths of your soul into your conscious awareness. Oh, I can do this. I don't know how I can do this. I don't know how it works, but I can't deny the effects it's having on other people. You can tell in someone's eyes, in someone's demeanor, if you had an impact on them. So you might be finding this playing out in your own life, and it's sort of a formidable blockade here, but the only one is our own beliefs. Our own self-limiting beliefs can be so strong that even though the evidence is so obvious, we can still rationalize our unworthiness. We can still trick ourselves into believing that, well, this was just luck or whatever. And it's important to stop listening to that monkey mind that wants to keep you small, that wants to keep you from your potentially expanded way of being in life, which involves service in some way. Look no further than the evidence that the world, life, the universe is putting in front of your face right now. One thing that helped me is because I had the same thing when I came onto YouTube. I was like, who am I to share about anything? I'm no Eckhart Tolle, I'm no Gandhi, I'm no, Buddha, but yet I feel this calling and like an enjoyment from just sharing about spiritual concepts. But who am I? And what I realized is that what I started to notice myself doing, which is what a lot of you folks do, is what people call channeling. And I use that term loosely because that can tend to be associated with these, extravagant mystical abilities. I look at channeling as accessing our deep potential and expressing it out there in life. No different than Michael Jordan playing basketball, Wayne Gretzky playing hockey, Michael Jackson rocking out the stage. Channeling. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to rely on what you feel is a minimal earthly life experience. What's coming through you now are like your soul's abilities, your soul's things that you've mastered probably over dozens, many lifetimes. And that's why it just sort of happens through you. You can trust upon that. You can trust your ability to get yourself into a zone and to align yourself with the right people at the right time, with the right situations where you don't have to do much of anything. And the magic just sort of comes out of you. It's pulled out of you by other people. And you can learn to rely upon that. At least I have, and it's helped me greatly get over the whole imposter syndrome, which can last an entire lifetime. We can feel like an imposter, but there comes a point where it's time to just step out there and do your best. And now is that time. Number 4, a more expansive and yet simple life. A lot of times for us to carry out our mission, which a lot of us are not even feeling called to do, a lot of us are going to start doing it, whether we like it or not, it's time. But in order to do that, we do need the space. We do need, in a sense, like the organization and the balance. Because for me to make these videos, for me to coach people, I can't be going out and partying all night. I can't be having the life and soul sucked out of me by energy vampires that I choose to allow in my life, or a draining career that leaves me with zero energy. I need to optimize and organize my life so that there's enough time and space to create and to do, and energy, and where I can connect with myself more deeply. So in order for that to happen for a lot of us, it involves simplifying our life. My good buddy Chase, he's always talking about this school bus thing he wants to do. Him and his girlfriend Sydney, they want to like renovate a school bus and go live kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and go off wherever they want and have no one to bug them, and to have that beautiful piercing silence of nature in the background of their lives at all times. And once they simplify their life, it's not only is it a good time to really discover and uproot your gifts, but it's also just a great time to do anything you want, really, because you've given yourself the time and space to create your life more authentically with actual energy and inspiration. Because that's inspiration, in my experience, is an energy that is finite. We can express it and then we have to wait for it to fill up. But oftentimes, if our life situation is so unideal, we never even get to tap into that potential inspiration. But if you feel that call to simplify and thereby doing so, expand your life in some way, the timing could not be perfect. We'll say the winds might be at your back and things can go surprisingly very smoothly, because it's like life is trying to put you where it needs you, where you can be of better service to not only yourself, but the whole. So when this happens, it's like all the synchronicity and whatnot is really in your favor, and you can make these big life shifts in a very, very surprisingly short period of time. I've done this many times over, and now is a fantastic time to make these positive changes right now, my friend. The world needs it. Number 5, letting in more love from others and from yourself. Beautiful, right? Wow, who wouldn't want more love from others and their self? However, what's happening is awareness is being shut upon the things we're holding inside that are preventing that deeper experience of love. What's coming up as an example, by the way, my wife loves it when I use her as an example, but for my wife, she's been getting triggered a lot by some of the things going on in our life where she feels out of control. For example, running a retreat. When I do my Sedona retreats, there's 20, 25 guests, sometimes less, sometimes more, 8 crew members. It's too big for any one person to mentally manage. And my wife gets sort of high strung, we'll say, during the retreats sometimes. And we just did a retreat recently, and she had this dawning, this insight where, oh my goodness, I just don't feel safe in the retreat. I never felt safe at all in my life, and she hasn't. She had this unique upbringing, we'll say, where her parents were very, both literally and emotionally unavailable, and she was the youngest of 5, and she pretty much had to raise herself, and she just never had anyone to say, hey honey, it's gonna be okay, we're good here. And she just walked around feeling unsafe her entire life. However, she's not a little kid anymore, and walking around with that illusion of having a lack of love and stability is causing her to push away, to try to control. So anyway, she's having these wild, beautiful breakthroughs. Oh my God, I am safe. I've been safe for a long time. I got a husband, I got friends, I got love. And now she's finally allowing that love and that safety to be experienced in her body, in her life. And it's amazing. And a lot of you, it might not even be love from the outside. It might be about becoming aware of the blocks that you have, the illusions the shame, the guilt, the self-judgment that's severing off your own ability to send love to yourself, basically. I had a real powerful breathwork session recently, and one of the themes that came up is something I've not thought about in over a decade. It popped in my head in a single word. It was heroin. Yuck! Ew. I used to be a heroin user when I was 19, 20 years old. I'm 37 now. I'm been clean that whole time. But the point is, I haven't thought about that in a long time. But I realized in that ceremony that I had a lot of like shame and just like, another word, it's getting kind of revealing here, but that popped in my mind was monster. I felt like I was a monster. I told myself, you're a monster, Vic. How dare you do some of the things that you've done in the past? And anyway, I had long forgot about that. It's not stopped thinking about that consciously. And yet the horrible way I used to talk to myself and judge myself and condemn myself and shame myself was very much in my body energetically, causing me to not let love in. And the way this came to mind, real briefly, is somebody was practicing breathwork on me. I was in a certification class, and one of the things they were practicing, this woman was practicing like showing me tenderness and like massaging my back and like being really nice and nurturing. And I noticed when she was doing that, I tensed up. There's a part of me that was like, no, I don't want this, even though I did. So I asked, why do I want this? I didn't feel I deserved to feel love and nurturing from her. And of course, that's rooted in my inability to nurture and love myself. And anyway, as I was purging all this out in breathwork, what dawned on me was, oh my God, I was able to see the things that happened in my life that led into me using heroin. It was a lot of trauma. Tragic things have happened to me in a sense that were the root cause, the root reasoning where I could even begin to justify using heroin. And I saw the whole thing from a different perspective. Instead of being like, you suck, Vic, it was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you, little Vic. I could totally see where this would lead to this. And it's understandable that you would respond this way. You didn't know any better. So my point is, you might have a similar unraveling of all the reasons you beat yourself up, all the reasons you shame yourself, all the root reasons you don't believe you're worthy. It's all bullshit. It's all just like it's all these false beliefs. And this new moon is so powerful. Not only is it going to be lifting you up into your purpose, and also an ideal, more simplistic, harmonious situation to really foster your purpose. However, it's not just about finding your purpose and serving others. Great, that's pretty cool. But what about you? Where do you fit into this equation? And it's like also the new moon's about you feeling love. Love is there. It's always been there. Reminds me of this story I read this morning from one of my favorite teachers. His name is Muji. And the story is about two really good friends. And then I'll cut it. I've been going off on tangents. It's a good story. It'll be a good shebang in this whole video. Two friends, right? One of them's very, very wealthy. The wealthy friend has a family, a wife and a couple of kids. And the wealthy guy was telling his friend, he's saying, listen, I have a lot of money buried under the house. And when the time is right, I want you to tell my family. Don't tell them now, because my wife might blow it all away. My children are too young to appreciate it. Tell them when the time is right. So like 7 or 10 years go by, and the one friend had gone off and finally came back to see this friend's wife and children begging in the street for money. They were poor, they were begging. And he walked up to him and said, what's the matter? What's going on? Said, oh, my husband died, and we had a little money saved, and now we're poor. We have to do this to survive. And he said, I got a little surprise for you, darling. You got a big sack of cash under your house. Sure enough, they went and they pulled up the boards. They were digging, and clunk, there it is. They pulled it up. And there's all this money, and they lived happily ever after. So did they go from being poor to rich, or were they rich the whole time? You, me, us, people, of no matter what you've done in life, are rich with love. But we've gone through things that have caused us to be completely blind, where that love has been, in a sense, boarded up, where we are not able to access it. We've always been loved. We've always been love. And now the new moon is coming in, shining its light, taking off those boards, screw by screw, nail by nail, so that the love that's always been there, the richness of the love we are, can finally be experienced not only from us to ourselves, but from other people as well. And imagine going through life in a more simplistic, harmonious way, serving, working your magic with confidence, no more doubts, and feeling the love to support you in each and every moment.